Hello, and welcome to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Copper Rock Real Estate. Commercial and residential real estate in the Mid-Willamette Valley. CopperRockRealty.com. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low-cost and no-cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Join Boson Hub Digital Development in supporting Kicking Cancer. Kicking Cancer provides support, education, and resources for cancer patients, survivors, and families. Kicking-cancer.org. More than just a home, the Arbor at Avamere Court in Kaiser. Arbor at AvamereCourt.com. Assisted living at Avamere at Albany. AvamereAtAlbany.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Tim Rist on the web at DORE.LLC. Find your people, find your home.
And now, your hosts for The Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Good morning.
Ta-da! Here we are live on The Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. You know, what a blessing it is every Monday to be here with you. Scott, how are you doing, my friend?
I am doing wonderfully, and it's just a beautiful sunny day here. We've had some cold weather. It was a little chilly in Waco, but mid-30s will be fine.
There you go. There you go. Well, I haven't been outside yet, but I'm guessing it's chilly here. We've been, it's been getting kind of weird weather. One day it's sunny, next day it's pouring down rain. It's one of those kind of things. So yeah, just roll with it.
Typical Northwest.
Yeah, there you go. That's it for sure. For sure.
Always something going.
I want to tell you that, it's such a blessing to be here with this amazing community of believers. And every week we talk to believers in business. And today is no exception to that. We have an amazing, amazing friend of mine. Thomas Cloutier is going to be with us today. And he's not only an amazing believer, loves the Lord, but also has got great things going on in the senior living community that we'll talk more about. But I just want to remind everybody, if you want to find out more about Scott and I and what's going on, go to local.theexperience.video today. That will give you all the information about Scott and I and about this show, as well as our show, The Experience Live with Russ and Scott on Wednesdays, and other live streams we do. It's just a lot of good information. On there, you can also join our and subscribe to our YouTube page, which we'd love to have you do because we're trying to grow that. But if you want to go directly to that, you go to the experience.video and it'll take you directly to our YouTube page. And you can subscribe today. You can even do that now. Open a separate tab. If you're listening on radio, you can do it later. But anyway, those things are pretty simple to remember since there's the name of the show. And we would love to have you do that today. And don't forget, we're here every Monday, live streaming at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time. That's right. That is for your viewing and listening pleasure. But this does convert to not only video podcast that sits on the channels that we broadcast on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, but also goes to audio podcast. You can listen to that as well as the Experience Radio Network. Right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. We're grateful to the stations that broadcast us in Oregon, and also for my show, The Waco Experience, which broadcasts here in Waco from Dallas down to Austin. So we cover a big swath. And but thank you to KWIL, KYKN, and KBBW for being a part of the Experience Network.
That's right. And we're so blessed to have that. So, Scott, anything great going on this week before we jump on into our guest?
I will just tell you that on Saturday, I had a wonderful conversation. I got to record for the Waco Experience with Congressman Pete Sessions in his office here in Waco. We had a conversation that stretched for a bit. It's actually going to be a two-part episode. So coming up on the Waco Experience, Congressman Pete Sessions.
That's awesome. So good. So good. It's always interesting people that we meet. And that's what I'm blessed with every week, is meeting so many new, amazing people and getting time to talk with my amazing friends like Thomas Cloutier. And I think we should get Thomas in and get.
Yeah, let's bring him in because he is dealing with an area that is near and dear to my family, senior living. And so let's bring him in and let's find out what he's got going on.
Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. We're so blessed and glad to have you here.
Thank you for having
We're
me.
going to start off very simply with you this morning. Tell us a little bit about Thomas and what you're all about, what you got going on.
Gosh, not about me. All right. Well, I'll dovetail this into my senior living journey. So my family moved to the Northwest when I was 10 from Massachusetts. My dad got a job with Eastman Kodak, and they asked him where he wanted to work, and he listed 3 places on the East Coast, and they moved us all the way out to Oregon. So that started our journey in Oregon. Funny how it all works out. But, went to Willamette University and had a great experience there. And I was one of those people that got out of college and said, I assume people are going to be waiting for me once I get out to the graduation stage, waiting for jobs, just hand them to me. And lo and behold, it was a recession. So bounced around some sales jobs. I know, Russ, we've talked about before. I sold some lawn care, slagging all sorts of products. And I started dating this girl. And always, good things happen with a girl. She was the love of my life in college, and she wouldn't date me. She said I needed a little more maturing. And I needed a job. We started dating, and it was highlight of my life. And I was working for my master's degree in sports administration. I had a vision to work at Nike or Adidas or, just something in the sports world, because I'm a big sports fan. And but I needed a job to pay for dates. The senior living, I grew up in Beaverton, and the senior living next door to my house was Avamere at Bethany. And I somehow magically got that job. And now I blink and it's been 15 years in the senior living industry. So, and the girl I'm dating is my wife, and we have 2 daughters. So, it all worked out. So I've been committed to the senior living world, but also my career has progressed and it's turned into quite the labor of love. So
Thomas, let's talk about senior living because if you're involved in it, you understand it. If you've had a family member that's been involved in the various aspects of senior living, you understand it. But for people on the outside looking in, I think they have a very negative view of what it means. So tell us what is really going on in senior living.
Yeah, I mean, you ask almost anybody, where do you want to be? Like I live in Westland right now. Where do I want to retire? My home here, or get a house out in Scottsdale, right? I think senior living ends up being an option for folks when they're in crisis, right? And there's so much more to give. In fact, our brand position is more than just a home for our Avamere properties, and it's true. There's a lot of ways to live outside your home that could be advantageous to you. And usually people explore senior living when something happens. You're forgetting your medication at home. You meet with mom on the holidays for Christmas, and all of a sudden she's not acting the same. Dementia happens. All these different reasons that lead towards senior living and options. I know it's affected Russ's family. So, to put it in context, Scott, I think, my own father has Lewy body dementia. And we're going through it. And I try to think through the lens of what would my mom do, right? What would she do if she was, and without me, she would know nothing about senior living other than what she's heard from friends. And so you're right. It's something that comes up usually when something's happening at home.
And I want to talk too about the different types, right? I mean, there's independent living, there's assisted living, there's memory care, there's a spectrum. And so this isn't just, I'm going into dementia, or I've had a major surgery and there's no one to care for me. I mean, people are choosing they're choosing to go into this.
Yeah, certainly in the independent living space, right? We have 31 communities, and independent living is a lifestyle choice, right? And sometimes that leads to, early assisted living type thoughts. I need to get in somewhere where, my life can progress. But oftentimes it's for the camaraderie, the social aspects of it. I don't know if you guys have watched A Man on the Inside. That's a Netflix show.
We have been watching.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's great. They did a great job with it, but the social aspects of it, of not just happy hour, but having, I think about our Stafford community, which is right down the road from my house. They pushed all the tables together in our pub. We had this beautiful layout. They pushed all the tables together so they can all eat together. Our residents can all spend time together. And there's something really powerful in that, on having community, which is something Russ and I talk about all the time, is the power of community. And that's what our independent living, assisted living, and certainly can even happen in our memory care communities.
Well, I know that in my own experience, Thomas, with my mama, she loved the community going into when they started an independent living,
Right.
having McCourt and Kaiser. And they, my dad had a rougher time. He wasn't as social, but also was just really, he was in his last stages of lung cancer, and dementia was kicking in. So it was kind of a rough time for him. But my mom at the community just really held her through. And after he passed a few months later, she ended up about a year and a half later, moving into the memory care because of her Alzheimer's, which she had been diagnosed with a couple of years before that.
Right.
But again, the community is what really was amazing. Not just the workers and the people there that were great, but also just the people. And there were still some pretty active people in her part of the arbor at Avamere Court where she was, which you oversee, and such great people. Some of them are still there today that I go visit, and I volunteer occasionally. But I think that's so important to have that atmosphere, because it gives them a little life. It gives them a little hope, right?
Purpose. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all searching for in life, no matter what age, is purpose. And I think not only is today's senior, but the next iteration of seniors, baby boomers are coming in waves. We call it the silver tsunami in this industry, but those are our seniors that are coming. Even they want purpose. They want to volunteer. Some of them still want to work. They want this, not only community atmosphere from an entertainment standpoint, but some value. And I my vision, and when I close my eyes and think about the next 5 to 10 years, I think seniors are going to work for us directly. We've had some examples of volunteering, but life enrichment, bus driving, even sales, which is something I oversee. There's a lot of opportunity to work in this space and have purpose beyond just having an apartment at a senior living. So, but I think that's why people choose us. Oftentimes is the community, but also having something to do other than home can be pretty lonely by yourself. Even if your family visits a lot, or even if you have great neighbors, it can be pretty lonely 24 hours on your own.
So let's talk about integrating your faith into the workplace.
Yeah. We, as a company, we have tons of different beliefs that go on throughout our organization. I'm Catholic, so our faith-based, it certainly is up to everyone who lives with us. But I know for me, it certainly aligns. I think there's a purpose and there's a reason that I'm working in this field, right? Even though I saw myself as some sort of shoe executive at Nike, I think there's a reason why my wife joined my life at the time where I was going to move to a different state and pursue this. And my faith is aligned on why I'm in this industry, which is I get extreme joy out of working with seniors and the teammates that work in this space. I say this to anybody. 99% of people in senior living are incredible human beings. We rarely get people that work in this field that don't want to help people in some general, even, we call it competition. I mean, I'm rooting for everybody, right? We're all here to help seniors. And so that aligns well with my faith and my family's faith as well. Is there is a service aspect to this, certainly in this job, no matter what job you're in. I've ran communities, I've sold apartments. Now, my role at the home office, but it's this dying desire to help others and serve that aligns well with my faith.
Yeah, I think that is so, because God is the one that gives us a servant's heart. And you definitely have that, Thomas. I think that, what an amazing industry to be in. I have got a lot of experience now over the years. I was really aligned with a lot of people through business that were in the senior living, um, area before I had to deal with my mama and my dad being in there. And it was interesting because of that connection with all of them, it was a blessing to me and really a gateway into senior living with my parents.
Yeah.
But the people in there and the hearts, they love those people, they care for those people. You and I have talked about you're going to find little issues no matter where you go, but I never found an issue with the way they loved my mama, the way they took care of my parents, the way that they just were a blessing all the way around. That's the reason that they were where they were, was for that alone, was how they were cared and how they looked at. They weren't made to feel stupid, old, worthless. No, they were made to feel like they had value and worth and purpose in all that they did, and that everybody loved them. And that's what was really driving for me. And I think that's so important. You and I have talked about this. I was blessed to be able to do some work with you and
Yeah.
with all of that. And we talked a little bit about how your employees interact with them. And I think that starts at the top down. And I think that's because of you. And it goes right into the employees and the groups from there. Tell me what you have done to really make sure that everybody's aligning with the values that you guys have.
Yeah, our mission is to enhance the lives of every person we serve. And our core values are the epitome of what we look for in any employee and any teammate. Our home office, I believe we had a handful of people turn over in the last couple of years. So from the top down, the larger parent company was Avamere. During the pandemic, business got complicated. We spun off our organization to RTA Living, and we're the senior housing focus of the business. And in any hire, we're looking for core values. Our president, my dear friend Sarah Silva, says, if you act within our core values, you'll always have a home here. And it's true. This is a complicated, highly regulated space. It is hard. It is 24/7, 365. There are no days off. And, unfortunately, any of us are dealing with a lot of turnover at the caregiver, med tech, that level of and teammate. And so we have to have great systems in place to ensure care is consistent and where we expect it to be. But, I'll say this to anybody, you're a caregiver or you're not, we'll figure it out pretty quickly. And it's true, but you have to start with this mindset of we're here to serve. In fact, we look at our org chart as an upside down org chart. We work for you. And at the top of that starts family members and seniors, right? And it doesn't mean it's perfect, Russ. We've talked about this. The laundry will be forgotten. There will be pushback on shower day. There will be, the bill's gone up and we need to talk about it. There's med errors happen. Things happen. But at the core, if we love your mom, love your dad, love our seniors, good things happen. And it's a better situation than being at home often and actually in most cases. So I'm really proud to be in this space. I know you know that, Russ, but Scott, you learned that. But
We talk a lot about the sandwich generation, right?
Yeah,
caring for children, caring for your parents. My experience has been, and this gets discussed a lot on my wife's program, Aspects of Aging, over at agingbetternetwork.com. That's a blatant commercial, by the way. It's as if when people get involved in this, right, when they have to work with their parents or a spouse, it's as if they're the first person to ever have to go into the system, right?
Yeah.
To work with Social Security, to work with veterans, to work with Medicare, Medicaid, there's so many, it's so complicated.
Yeah.
How do people learn? What are the education opportunities out there so we know just the terminology?
Yeah, that's great. Truly our industry needs to keep work. This is a space that, I go to conferences, talk to my peers across the country, and we need to keep getting better here on doing more education on our end, getting it ahead for people. But oftentimes we call our sales team, they're directors of sales and outreach, but truly they don't sell. They advise, they help, they guide, right? Our best sales team members are incredible listeners but they're a wealth of knowledge to help guide this situation, right? Some people don't know what Medicare is or Medicaid even is, right? Until you need it, right? Some people don't have guardians or trusts. And so we do quite a bit of training around that, not just for our sales team, but for our leadership team in general. But our industry needs to keep working at this and getting information ahead of time to folks, because you're still talking about 12% of the country that lives in senior living by the last stats that I've heard. So that's 88% that choose to stay home or don't even know what their options might be. And, again, I talked about my own family. We have a meeting coming up, my sister, myself, and my mom, to try to discuss next steps like any family would. Thank God I've been in this industry, right? And have some guidance. But if you don't have that, how do you get it, right? And yeah, anyone can Google it, but that, I don't know if that leads the path toward what you really need to make really key life decisions. And so, but usually we try to get information out, and also, our outreach efforts are really important to try to connect with your community and try to get ahead of it for anybody. And I say this, 25% is a really good closing ratio in our space. That means a lot of people don't choose us. Our job's still to help them. And that's what we tell our whole sales team. Anyone who walks through our doors, our job's to help you for many reasons, but most importantly, we're in the human business.
See,
Yeah,
that's what I love about you, Thomas, and the whole thing too. Excuse me there. I just, I love the fact that you are all about community and all about people. And that is what I found in so many of my friends, some that work for other companies too, but such a heart for people. And that guided me to getting my parents into senior living. And I can tell you that there's a huge misconception, and Scott alluded to this up front too. There's lots of different areas of senior living, but there's a huge misconception that you're putting your parents away.
Yes.
Even as people go older, I don't want to be put away by my kids. But see, it doesn't have to be like that. It's really up to the people themselves, because I was there pretty much every day when my parents were first there. And once my mama moved to memory care, I was there pretty much every day, if not most days. And so I still got to love her and be her son and be there. In fact, I had a 20-year-old caregiver say to me, with the wisdom of many more years, Mr. Hedge, take a deep breath, just be the son, love your parents, let us be the caregivers. And what she was telling me was, it's okay to relax. They had all the caregiving stuff under control. I was not made to be a caregiver, and most people are not. And that's why often kids and families get bitter, because they're trying to be a caregiver and trying to be a son or a daughter. And it's really hard. And it's usually they're not cut out for it. So that is why I think senior living is so important. Comment on that, Thomas, because I just think that's just a misconception that people have.
To be just a family member, I mean, the stress of knowing that mom or dad are at home and you have a job and you have your own family that's dealing with, as my kids keep getting older, it's amazing the things that are happening, right? And some people do take in their own family, and I respect the hell out of that. That's incredible, but oftentimes it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense financially. You don't have the space, whatever the case may be. And you're right. Senior living can be an awesome opportunity to go back to being, the loved one and the family member. And it's it can be really valuable in that space, whether it's independent, assisted, and certainly memory care. But that's what it should be, right? You want to enjoy your mom. You want to enjoy, like Russ. We got the videos of you singing with your mom in memory care. They're incredible, right? They make me cry every time, right? That's how it should be. Let us worry about the medications. Let us worry about bathing. Let us worry about the stuff that you might not be prepared to do, might not want to do. That's where incredible value comes from what we do. And you're right, 20-year-old, they're like, so we'll tour communities. We did this last week, and 19-year-old caregiver said some of the most, it was like I was talking to Yoda at 19 years old, like just gave some incredible, I was like, life advice to me. I was like, wow, but it's a labor of love, like I've been saying. It's incredible the people that we have, and where your mom in the memory care is. We have caregivers that have been there for 16 years, 17 years, that their job is dedicated, and life is dedicated to helping seniors thrive. And seniors will and can thrive in independent living, assisted living, and certainly in memory care.
Yes.
More than you would just being at home often.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I think people need to think about those things and get good counsel. And yes, sometimes some 19, 20-year-olds are cut out for what they do, and they have great counsel. So with that, we have to wrap things up today. I have to be the responsible host here. Thomas, give everybody your gold nugget of today's conversation, what you want them to remember, and then also let us know how we get in touch with you so people can reach out to you and find out more information.
Yeah, absolutely. So my email is Cloutier, my last name Cloutier @arete.living.com, ARETE living.com. I will post it on LinkedIn for everyone to find. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I'll tell you this, one of the best things about being in senior living is I get phone calls from peers, friends, people I've met all across the country for advice. And I think Scott's great question of how do people find out more? Don't hesitate to ask someone in this space, whether it's me or somebody else. It is a complicated world of how to get into senior living and also how to set up your options going forward. But what I want people to know is this is an incredible industry. Everyone that works in it has giant hearts, and I'm just really proud to be part of it and proud of all my peers who work so hard to make this a great option for seniors and families. Awesome.
Well, Thomas, thanks so much. We are going to say goodbye to you as Scott and I wrap up for today. But man, I tell you, so much value. I just appreciate you so much. And I encourage everybody to reach out to you and get more information, because really that's what it's all about. Information is gold when it comes to dealing with your parents. And so thank you for being there, Thomas.
Thank you. Appreciate you both. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Hang tight in the green room. We'll be right there with you as we wrap up the show here.
Fabulous. Wow. Yeah, it is so many different things in life. My wife and I were having this discussion that there was a posting by Valerie Bertinelli. Many people remember her from a variety of TV shows. And she posted on Instagram a while back, as she's experiencing her own aging. She says, I don't know what to do because all of my experience is being young.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we need to be able to reach out to people like Thomas and say, okay, independent living, assisted living. I mean, what are these different things? These continuous care retirement communities. What does that mean? What about, and you need to find somebody like a Thomas who's living in it and knows how to explain it.
Exactly. No, it's amazing what value you get from people that are in this field, because I could not have made it without them. I would not have known where to turn, what questions to ask. Mm-hmm. And it was such a blessing, such a blessing. So, Scott, listen, we just want to remind everybody, we're here every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time, broadcasting live, but it also converts to audio podcast and video podcast. You can watch it after, and it broadcasts on the Experience Radio Network. Thank you to the stations that broadcast us, as well as your show, Scott, the Waco Experience happening. And so many opportunities. But again, just want to remind everybody, if you just go to local.theexperience.video, you can find out more about us. If you're listening on radio, that's the best place to go when you get home. Local.theexperience.video. If you know the name of the show, that should be pretty easy to remember. And join our YouTube page off that, or go directly to theexperience.video today, and you can directly go to our YouTube page. So with that, we want to encourage you all to contact Thomas and get more information from him. And Scott, thank you so much for being here for me every Monday.
Always fun to hang out with you, Russ. Have a great day and a fabulous week to everybody out there.
All right. See y'all. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to find podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.